right now, the bracket big board, and let's start with the Wisconsin Badgers. And I say this, and I'm not saying this as a punchline or as a joke. I legitimately believe Wisconsin is Final Four caliber. I don't care what the damn draw is, and they are a dark horse, and they may be the darkest of dark horses to win the national title this year. That's how high of a level John Tonji and company are playing at, and Greg Gard's got these guys humming. I moved Wisconsin all the way up to a number 2 seed. Let me break down the particulars, and I'll get your opinion on this squad. Number 10 right now in the net. Number 24 overall strength of schedule in the season. They played the 89th toughest non-conference strength of schedule. Nothing to scoff at there. 5-4 in true road games. Great record. 7-5 against quadrant 1 competition. Number 7 at Puerto Rico over the last 30 days, where they're number 21 EFG offense. Now, defensively, Kyle McCain for 3-man, we brought this up. If there is a weakness to Wisconsin, their defense is average. They're 133 in EFGD those last 30 days, but they finished the Big Ten regular season with Oregon at home. They don't really lose there at the Kohl Center. See my Illini, they just beat them down. Washington after that, that's going to be a layup game for them. And then at Michigan State, okay, maybe they catch an L in that game. At Minnesota, that could be a bit of a trap game. And then Penn State at home. I think the Badgers, they're going to be teetering right there on that 2-3 line, depending upon the finish, how they perform in the Big Ten tournament. But again, this team, it doesn't matter the draw. They got the goods. They got size. They got experience. They got shot makers. They can play at variable places. They're balling right now, are the Badgers, and Bucky can make some serious noise come March.
Yeah, if you want to have a good time, go back and look at the Big Ten, the preseason standings and rankings from pretty much like everybody, man. Nobody had any faith in this Badgers team or Greg Gard, and now they're 21-5. I'm not going to lie, I don't think I saw them as a top 10 offensive team in the country as far as efficiency. You said it, though. Imagine if this is your traditional Wisconsin team on the defensive end. I think this team's Final Four, maybe even national championship good. I will say this is probably the strongest offensive team that they've had since Sam Decker and Kaminsky were there and Nigel Hayes and all those guys. The only thing that scares me from them making a deep run is the defense, but I like this team, man. They shoot over 45% on mid-range jumpers, which you just don't see anymore. We just talked about that with Spider Sally. They still shoot 39% from 3, and I like Greg Gard more than most, so it won't surprise me if this is an Elite 8, maybe even a Final Four team. I like the Badgers' future prices, and I have for a couple weeks now, and there hasn't been a letdown spot. I like them at home, and they've been pretty good on the road as well. I like this team quite a bit.
Yeah, again, I think there's going to be a 4-1 finish to the Big Ten regular season, and we'll see how they do in the tournament. The Big Ten tournament, to me, as long as you get to like the final round, that final game doesn't matter. It really doesn't, because the committee, it's always the last game before the Selection Sunday show on CBS, so they've already got everything in place. I guess if you win, you may go here. If you lose, you may go there. But generally speaking, it's not going to adjust your seed line overall. But the Badgers, again, are for real. Another team is very much for real. And I moved up last night, as a matter of fact, with Alabama losing their second straight game. I know it was a tough game. They're on the road in Missouri, and that team is just on fire right now. But Houston's enough justify being the fourth number 1 seed in my estimation. Number 3 in the net overall, 38 in strength of schedule, 70 in non-conference strength of schedule. They haven't lost a game on the road all year. An unblemished 8-0 in true road matchup, 6-4 in quadrant 1. They're number 1 overall on Torvik the last month. I know they're 140 EFG offense, 187 EFG defense, but again, it's all about second chance, third chance opportunities. That defense overall, forcing turnovers, getting those sprint outs. It overcomes some of those ugly advanced analytics. You look at who Houston finishes with. They got Iowa State at home coming up. Big game there at Texas Tech, another monster game. Cincinnati at home. Kansas, who's on the struggle bus, at home. And at Baylor. I mean, they could win out. Even if they stub their toe once, I think they've done enough, and knowing Alabama's heading the wrong direction to justify being on that one line should, as of today, they be a number 1 seed.
Yes, and I think even if they do get tripped up, definitely once, I think they're still a 1 seed, maybe even twice, man. I mean, I like this team. They just don't really beat themselves. Obviously, like Kelvin Sampson, really tough defensively. Every year, Ken Pom and all the metrics really like them, and every year I play futures, and then they let me down, and it's usually because they can't score the basketball. That's the thing, like, That's why I like Auburn with Broom, NBA talent, or Duke with Flag. You know what I mean? Just when I'm picking teams to win the national championship, I just worry, like, is LJ Cryer good enough to take over a game, and Emmanuel Sharp and Juwan Roberts? I like those guys, but that's just what scares me a little bit about Houston. But I think they're a 1 seed, and it won't shock me if they're cutting down the nets, man. This team's so good, and like I said, they don't really beat themselves, and they just guard you for 40 minutes. They play tough defense.
Yeah, I call them the zombie horde, man. They just keep coming at you. Another team right now is playing a high level, Mississippi State. Very impressive win against Texas A&M by a significant margin over the last couple of days. That one shocked me. I really dropped my jaw when I was at the bar there at Circa in Vegas. But you look at Mississippi State, a team that is playing a high level right now, and they kind of ride the ship. They're number 26 in the net the last couple of weeks, number 12 in strength of schedule, 122 in non-conference strength of schedule, 6-2 on the road, 7-6 in quadrant ones, number 35 in Bart Torvik over last month. That's not the greatest number, 238 EFG offense, 137 EFG defense. But again, if we saw the version that took the floor against Texas A&M, I mean, they could make some serious noise in March for Chris Jansen Company. Hubbard was a baller. He had 25 in that game.
Yep.
They finished with at Oklahoma, at Alabama. We'll see what version of Bama we get. LSU at home, Texas at home, at Arkansas. Thoughts on Mississippi State? Got it projected right now to be a 5 seed. Could climb as high as maybe a 4. It'll depend upon draw, but Hubbard's a hell of a guard, and it's all about guard play come March.
Yeah, that's what I love is Hubbard, man. He could go off in any game for 20 to 25 points. He's giving him about 18 per game. I like Murphy, and then you'll see what you get from Harris. He's averaging about 10 points per game. But like you said, you got a guard that could give you 20-plus points per game. I will say this, though. I'm not calling them average, and I have liked them in some spots. If they are a 5, that might be, depending on draw, of course, that might be like a 12-5. Or if they move up to a 4, like 13-4 matchup, that I would maybe look at the dog, though. I mean, we're really far away, and we don't even know what the matchup could be. But I like Hubbard, but I could see them laying an egg in the tournament, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible. It depends on what version we get. I mean, if we get the version against Texas A&M, they're going to win a couple of games.
Yeah.
If we get a prior version that was struggling just a couple of weeks ago, they could certainly get bounced, pending the matchup there in the opening round. All right, flip side of the coin. Let's talk about some bracket lames, and let's go and start with my stupid ILL. Big game going down at MSG this weekend against the Duke Blue Devils.
Yeah.
Probably going to catch maybe double figures as high as like maybe 12.5, 13.5. I mean, we'll see what the opening line is there at BetMGM. KenPom's got them losing. I think it was by 9. I'm like, there's no way that line's going to open that low the way that they're playing. Illinois, number 20 overall in the net. Again, the advanced analytics are still very healthy. Number 10 in terms of strength of schedule this season, 50 in non-conference. They're 4-5 in straight road games, not terrible. 7-8 in quadrant one, also not terrible. 39 in Torvik over last month. 161 in EFG offense. And what's even worse, 133 in EFG defense. That was their calling card like 2-3 weeks ago when they've just crumbled in that category. Again, at MSG, on Saturday against the Duke Blue Devils, and they get Iowa at home, at Michigan, Purdue. A lot of Illini fans have reached out to me on X at Noisy Huevos last about 24, 48 hours saying, Brad, are we going to miss the tournament? And even if Illinois loses out, they'll be a 14-loss team. 20 14-loss teams have earned an at-large berth since the expansion era of the NCAA tournament. That's 1985. Illinois with 7 quad wins. I'll say it right now. I don't like to use this word very often on the show, but I think it's a lock. I think it's a guarantee, and Illinois is going to make the tournament no matter what. Doesn't mean they're going to do jack nor squat in the tournament, but they're going to make the dance. Got them projected right now as the highest 8 seed, and that to me, it feels where they're going to land on the 8-9 line. Could they shock the world? Sure, but their range of outcomes is so vast, so wide.